difference. You know, this is awesome. I'm not sure we could get a crowd like this in Arkansas to come see me if we paid them $100 apiece. This is wonderful. I want to say thanks to all of you for coming out. What an amazing crowd. I came out here and it took my breath away. I looked out there and I thought we were going to have 150, couple hundred people. And in my pastor days, I would have said, we have several thousand people here today. And we very well may. Thank you so much for coming. As I was coming in, a gentleman said, just want you to know the other candidates have forgotten about us over here in East Tennessee.
That's right.
And I heard that and I said, well, I just hope you folks won't forget me tomorrow when you go and vote. I'm so grateful that you're here, because I believe this election is going to be won or lost in places that other people have forgotten. And quite frankly, that's the problem in America. There are a lot of people who are running for office who tend to forget that the real heart and soul of America is found in places that many of the chattering class and the mainstream media totally ignores. It's as if parts of this country are invisible to them. They don't see how hard some folks are working every day. They don't understand the guy that gets in the 18-wheel truck and drives it across America to put the things on the shelf that they buy. They don't realize that somebody had to lift and load those things that are in their homes, whether it's furniture or television sets, and somebody had to make sure that they could get there. They don't realize that every time somebody brings a plate of food to their table, there's somebody back in the kitchen who had to make it, and somebody who had to clean those dishes up, and somebody who, after they left, swept up the floors. And several months ago, there were a lot of us as Republican candidates. There were more than exist now because a lot of them have dropped out. There were about 10 of us. And we were in Dearborn, Michigan on the stage during one of the debates. They asked all the Republican candidates, how's the economy doing? And one by one, the Republican candidates said, oh, it's doing great. It's just doing terrific. And they were quoting from some of the talking points that they had been handed from the National Party. And they sounded pretty good. And frankly, from a big picture perspective, it was pretty good. When they came to me, they said, well, Governor, what do you think about the economy? I said, well, if you're one of the guys standing on this stage, it's doing quite well. But I said, if you're one of the folks handling the bags, if you're one of the folks sweeping the floors, if you're one of the folks who's not so much a Wall Street Republican, but a Walmart Republican, you'll find out that it maybe isn't doing quite so well for you. And when I said that, I got in a whole lot of trouble with some of the Republicans in the establishment who said, now wait a minute, who is this guy? How dare him say that there's a struggle? And I said, well, if you talk to the same people I'm talking to, that's what you'll hear, because they know this. Their fuel prices are higher than they were a year ago. Their health care costs are higher than they were a year ago. Cost to educate their children is higher than it was a year ago. And because the fuel is higher, everything that it means that we buy, it costs more to get it to the store. So whether it's milk, eggs, bread, or whatever it is, it's costing more. But everybody also understands their paycheck hadn't gone up as much as the prices have. And for most folks who are living paycheck to paycheck, that means the economy isn't doing so well. And guess what? They laughed at me now. Now they're saying the same thing that I was saying several months ago. What kind of person do you want in the White House? A person who understands the real world of everyday Americans, or somebody that has to wait a few months until it finally trickles up to them before they get the message that the strength of this country is not just in a handful of people on the East Coast. The strength of the country is in places like here in the Tri-Cities, where maybe other people are forgetting you're here, but I don't, because I understand. The fact is, this is real America. This is where people work and just want one thing out of their government: leave us alone and let us raise our families and let us get our jobs. Today for Congressman Davis, and I appreciate so much his not only being here, but I turned to some folks backstage when he was speaking a moment ago, and I said, it sure is refreshing to hear a congressman talk like that. It's obvious that Congressman Davis has not been inhaling too much of that rarefied air in the Beltway. It's pretty apparent he comes home every now and then and listens to folks. And that's what we need in this country. You know, the reason I'm here today is because tomorrow we've got a very, very important decision that's going to be made in over 20 states, including Tennessee, as well as in West Virginia. And I'm hoping that we're going to show that the people of America still make the decision as to who their president will be, and we would like to tell the media who it's going to be rather than let the media tell us who it's going to be. Tomorrow we can stand. I get asked regularly, why do you think we should vote for you? Well, let me give you some reasons. I believe the job of being a president is a tough job. It's a tough process to get there, and frankly, it ought to be. If it were easy, then I don't think a person would be prepared to be president, because it takes some stamina to run for the office. It's hard to run for president, but it's even harder if you get elected. So it ought to be hard. But I believe this, the job is a tough one. You need somebody who not only can do the job, but I tell you one of the greatest and most important qualities I believe you look for in a president. You want to be able to recognize that he understands that it's not just a job, it is a sacred trust that has been bestowed. And that he does not go to be the ruler, he goes to be the servant. He does not go to be a part of a ruling class, but recognizes that the ruling class in this country, by design, will always be the people who sent him, not the person who got sent. And when we understand that, we might have the greatness of America once again. Most people would agree that our country has gotten off track. And when people say, well, what are we going to do to change it? Well, first of all, I don't think the answer is going to be on the Democrat side, electing Obama or Hillary Clinton. Obviously, you agree with that assessment. But I believe you need somebody who's actually had some experience, and extensive experience, running a government. And I have more of that than anybody running for president, Democrat or Republican. 10.5 years as a governor of a neighboring state. 10.5 years of sitting in that seat, having to deal with everything from a challenge of a tax system that was choking our business. But here's what I can tell you. After 10.5 years, our per capita income was up 50%. We had the largest creation of new jobs in the history of the state, the lowest unemployment numbers. We rebuilt our road system. We reformed education. We were used to being 49th. A few weeks ago, Kids Count America said that we were number 8 in the country because of the reforms we made to give our kids a fighting chance in a school.